StrayAllDay.com.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called work on your game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is why you should be thankful for hardship. Now, before we get into this, I'll remind you all of two things. First of all, my daily motivation text and Monday motivation text guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point each day and week, respectively. Once we start sending this message out again, you're going to be wanting to get this straight to your phone. So just text me right now so we have your number stored. And once we start sending messages again, everybody in our community you have an option actually. You'll be able to choose how often you want to get these messages. Just go to text me and go to your phone app, your text messaging app. Text me at the number 305-384-6894. Secondly, Work on Your Game University. That's the place where I do any coaching. All coaching happens at Work on Your Game University. If you would like to work with me directly on an aspect of your life, career, or business that you want to get to its top level, I'm looking for top 2% performers. Those of you who are already there, or those of you who plan on being there. This is not for everybody, but for the right people. I'm talking to you right now. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Let's get into the topic, which again is why to be thankful for hardship. Definition of a hardship is a circumstance that causes a thing or circumstance that causes ongoing or persistent suffering or difficulty. Now, we all deal with hardship at different times in life, whether you are dealing with one now, you have dealt with some in the past, or maybe you have one coming in the future that you don't even know about, or maybe you do. But we've all had plenty of them, or up to this point in our lives. What I'm going to outline here today is why you should be thankful when you face hardships. And for those of you who have those that you have already faced down, you should be happy for those hardships as well, the ones you've overcome, because they will separate you not only from the average masses, but also from the current version of yourself. Every hardship you deal with will separate you from the person who you are right now. And the ones you dealt with in the past separated you from the person that you were before you dealt with them. And today I'm going to explain even deeper why that matters and how it's useful for you, especially for those of you who may be dealing with some hardship right now in the moment. Point number one, topic once again today is why to be thankful for hardship. Number one, dealing with a hardship will make you better. Plain and simple. Challenges exist, everybody, to make us better, smarter, wiser, and stronger. That's the reason why we face challenge. Same way that when you go to the gym and lift weights, your muscles get bigger and they get stronger. You break the muscle fibers in your arms or your legs, and then they rebuild themselves stronger than they were before, so that same stress level doesn't break them the next time. So the next time you can lift maybe a little bit more weight, or you can do a few more repetitions, or you can do it with less space in between. Whatever the situation is, the muscles are stronger the next time than they were last time, because they know what they had to go through last time that broke them, or they're not going to get broken by that next time. All right, this is the way human beings adapt, and we are very adaptable creatures. So same way that the muscles get bigger through weightlifting, your mental and emotional muscles get bigger when you face hardships. Your mental, emotional, physical, your decision making, your spiritual, every other muscle you have gets bigger and stronger every time you deal with a hardship that you don't allow to bury you. Now, if you allow the hardship to beat you up and destroy you, then you don't get stronger. You actually get weaker. But if you don't allow it to beat you up and destroy you, and you push back and you stand your ground, then you get stronger and you get better. You will be better able to handle the same type of situation in the future because you handled it now. So the same way that, again, if you struggle to lift 25 pounds today, it'll probably be easier to lift the 25 pounds next time because your muscles have experienced it, and now you will be better for having gone through it. The only way it won't make you better is if you quit or if you give up in the process, as I said. And this is the mindset that you want to take into dealing with any challenging situation, or adopt it now if you're already in the midst of a challenging situation. Don't look at the situation as a bad, woe is me, something you should feel sad and disappointed about. Condition yourself to frame it as a good thing, because you have to deal with it whether you frame it as a good thing or not. So you might as well face it positively and be happy that it's happening, because that will recruit more of your mental faculties, which allows you to access every other tool and every other ability that you have access to, rather than telling yourself, well, woe is me, this is terrible, which is more of a shutdown of access to your abilities, which will probably make you weaker and less capable of dealing with the situation. So you're better off framing it as a positive because, again, everything that happens in your life, you're going to have to deal with anyway. So you might as well look at it as, I'm glad I'm dealing with this because now I can, and you fill in the blank or why you're glad that you're dealing with it. And you might need to get creative with that. But the more you condition your mind for this way of thinking, the better you'll be able to deal with anything and everything that comes your way. And you'll notice the people who are highly successful, they have this mindset as a normal way of being. It's a normal modus operandi for successful people. They are conditioned to think this way, whether they did it, the conditioning on purpose, or it happened to them naturally, just maybe because of the environments that they were in or the people who they were around. Somebody somewhere at some point conditioned themselves this way, and then they pass it along to others. I'm a person who has done this, and I pass it along to others through our programs inside of Work on Your Game University. So this is something that sounds like a thing that you need, then you need to, as I told you at the beginning of this episode, go to Work on Your Game University so you can learn how to get this mindset installed into your head, into your way of being, into your way of living. The only way that a hardship cannot make you better, again, is if you quit or you give up. Mindset you want to take to any challenging situation is, I'm glad this is happening because now I can fill in the blank. Whatever it is going to make you better, stronger, smarter, more skilled, more experienced. Don't look at it as a bad thing. Okay. You might as well feel good about it because you have to deal with it no matter what. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is why you should be thankful for hardship. Number 2, development of skills, knowledge, and abilities. All right, anytime you're facing a tough situation, again, assuming that you actually face it and don't curl up into a fetal position and die, any challenge that you deal with, you will learn some new stuff, you will develop some new abilities, and hopefully you'll be a lot smarter so that if and when this thing comes up again, whether for you or for someone else, you are better equipped to handle the situation. Because see, if you get good at handling a situation, now you can help other people handle it. See, the reason why I can talk about the things that I talk about here on the show and talk to you and teach people the way that I do is because I've dealt with these situations. I know what's going on in the minds of people. I know what's going on in people's business. I know what's going on in people's careers and situations because I've dealt with them and I've seen them myself, whether I dealt with it personally and handled it, so now I can help other people, or I've helped other people handle it, so now I can help the next person who needs to handle it. All of these things becomes this each one teach one situation. The more you deal with things, the more equipped you are to help others deal with things, and the more equipped you are to deal with that same thing in the future. Just like the weightlifting thing. If lifting 25 pounds was a struggle for you the first time, won't be a struggle the next time. At least not as much of a struggle because you dealt with it already. So this makes you smarter, better, and more skilled. You're better equipped to handle the situation and to help others handle the situation. Remember that in life, we don't have enough time to make all the mistakes on our own and to learn everything through trial and error because there are way too many trials and way too many errors to make and not enough time for any one of us to go through all of them. So we need to learn from the lived experience that other people have had and the knowledge that they have gained in the process. Now, everybody goes through experiences, but not everybody learns from their experiences. And also, not everybody has the ability to articulate and explain what they've gone through and how you can avoid having to deal with the worst parts of those things in the future. So there's a paradox in here. The paradox is that going through hardship makes you tougher, stronger, it makes you more resilient, and is a thing that in the long run, you will appreciate having gone through these things because it made you tougher, stronger, better, more resilient, and you have the lived experience. At the same time, you don't want to go through every possible hardship there is in life because, again, there's not enough time for it. So there's a balance between these two that you don't even have to plan for. And as a general rule, you don't have to plan for this because you're going to go through some hardship whether you want to or not. All right, you can have everything set up for you to win. You're still probably going to go through some hardship at some point in your life, even if everything is set up for you to be successful. So let's say you're a parent and you have $1 billion and you set your kids up to never have to go through all the rough stuff you had to go through. They can live in the nicest neighborhoods. They don't ever have to worry about where they're going to eat. They don't ever have to worry about making money. They don't have to worry about connections or job opportunities or recognition or getting seen or how to get their foot in the door in a certain space. And everything is just laid out, yellow brick road for them. The biggest challenge for them is going to be at some point they're going to face a hardship anyway because life is life and humans are humans. And they will not have the requisite mental toughness built up to deal with it. And that's the point in which they either will fall apart or they're going to learn. One or the other is going to happen. So this is why parents, you often hear many parents who have created some level of success say that, hey, I'm not going to make it super easy for my child. I want to make it easier. I'm not going to make it super easy for them. They still have to go through something because they're not going to build any mental toughness. that they have no mental toughness, they're going to be a weakling when they finally face a tough situation. So that's the thing about mental toughness, folks. You can't build it going through everything being easy. All right. At some point, you got to face something tough to be mentally tough. You can't be mentally tough if everything's easy. There's no need to be tough if everything is easy. So you will have to go through something at some point, and this is the reason why parents, again, will strategically, hopefully strategically, set their kids up to have to deal with some challenging things and let them get tougher in the process. And I think a lot of parents need to be careful about this, especially in the world that we're in today, because a lot of parents tend to want to coddle their children and make it way easier for them than it was for the parents growing up. And there is a benefit to that. And there's something to be said for that, but you can't do it. You can't overdo it to a point that your child is just a weakling or just a pussy or a quitter, and they have no toughness at all, because that's not going to help you, the parent, because you're going to be having to baby that child even way past the point that they are no longer a baby, because you haven't helped them build up the requisite resilience, mental toughness, self-confidence, etc., etc. But this is not an episode on parenting. But any challenge you've ever faced in your business, if the challenge did not completely put you out of business, what'd you learn? How to deal with it. Hopefully set yourself up so it doesn't occur again in your business. So you are smarter now. So if it does happen again, you know exactly how to keep it from destroying you or beating you down as bad as it did the last time. Even if the challenge puts you out of business. I know some entrepreneurs who have had businesses that went out of business, but they came back stronger in the next business that they started because of what they learned from the first one. So as long as it doesn't put you out of business, meaning you don't get completely out of the game of business. Maybe your business goes down, but you don't get completely out of the game. This could be entrepreneurs who go bankrupt, entrepreneurs who lose a business, or entrepreneurs who, whatever, they had a company shut down for whatever reason, but then they come back and start another business. They're a lot better the second time around, or third or fourth or fifth time around, simply because they went through the challenge the first time and they didn't check out of the game. So again, your business might not check out, but you don't have to check out. In sports, when you advance to a new level, or face a new opponent who you've never faced before, you might lose the first time around. Like a rookie playing in a professional sport usually doesn't do so well at the beginning. They may go through some rough patches. Even if they're a very talented rookie, they're going to have some things happen in their first time through that they won't have happen when they're 5 years in, simply because they didn't have the experience. They didn't know what they didn't know. So now that you've gone through the experience, you now know what work needs to be done on your game, such that the same thing does not happen again. For example, I remember Kobe Bryant, his rookie year in the NBA. This was 1996. He got drafted. So playoffs were in 1997 in the spring. And the Lakers were playing the Utah Jazz. And Kobe Bryant was trusted with being a shot creator late in the game. And late in that game, in the fourth quarter, going into overtime, the Lakers were playing the Utah Jazz. And Kobe shot 3 air balls from the outside. And the Lakers ended up losing the game. And of course, the fans in Utah, the game was in Utah, they laughed at Kobe and mocked Kobe, and some of the critics out there mocked Kobe and said, well, see, this is why you shouldn't bring a high school kid straight into the NBA. Because Kobe had foregone college very famously and went straight from high school to the NBA. And he shot those air balls at the end of a playoff game. The Lakers lost and got eliminated from the playoffs. And Kobe later on said he knew why he shot the air balls. It was not because he was scared or anything, or that he had lost his ability to shoot. He just didn't have any more energy or power in his legs, because the NBA season is 82 games plus the playoffs, and high school seasons are about 30 games. So Kobe had basically hit the wall. According to Kobe's story, that's the reason why he missed those shots. The point being, the next season he came back a lot more physically stronger, and there was never another situation of Kobe shooting 3 air balls at the end of a game in his basketball career. So he went through that situation, took his lumps, and he got better. And the same thing happens to every rookie in every space, as long as you stay in the game. Now, if you get out of the game, then I guess the experience is just the experience. But if you stay in the game, usually you get better over time if you are looking at the situation as an opportunity to learn. So the reason why that expectation is that we tend to get better as life goes on, because every experience should make us better for dealing with that situation again. Now, this doesn't happen with everyone, because not everyone even considers learning from the experiences that they go through. Some people just go through the same stuff over and over and over again and never learn anything. But you're not going to be that person, because you listen to a show like this. And my next point, I'm going to explain why that happens to some people. And also, by listening to this, you're going to understand why it should never happen to you. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is why you need to be thankful for hardship. Number 3, most people run away from hardship and try to avoid it. And when I say hardship, what I mean here in this context is most people run away from anything that looks like it may be difficult or challenging, and they try to avoid difficult and challenging things, instead do things that seem easy and simple. Now, why am I saying that's what most people do? If you're familiar with this show and the things that I talk about, I tell you that most of the time you do not want to have too much in common with most people. So since most people run away from things that look hard and try to avoid them, what should you do? You should go towards them. Most people run away from any type of stress, any type of challenge, and any type of pressure, whether it's they are physically moving themselves away or mentally and emotionally moving themselves away. People just want to avoid anything that may challenge them, because most people just want to get into a certain zone of comfort and stay there for their entire lives once they become adults. The problem with this is, although it is convenient in the short term, you can't grow or get better in the long term if you don't face a challenge, because you can just stay in your comfort zone for the rest of your life. And this is the reason why many people become a certain type of individual in early adulthood, usually before the age of 25. They remain that same person for the next 60 years, and then they die because they don't grow. And they strategically avoid anything that could force growth upon them because they stay away from challenges. See, if you don't ever go towards anything that may challenge you, or stay in something that appears to be challenging you or has the potential to challenge you, you can't grow. It's impossible. So as I said earlier, the challenges you face are the opportunity you get to grow, improve, and get better. You cannot get better only doing things that you are used to doing. We are all familiar with the concept of the comfort zone. Everybody's heard of it. We understand that you had to be pushed out of it, or you must voluntarily step out of it in order to improve. And all the biggest growth periods you have in your life are periods in which you dealt with some sort of challenge, you were pushed out of your comfort zone, or you voluntarily stepped out of your comfort zone. And then you continue to deal with challenges. As you continue to deal with challenges, that allows you to maintain the development you have achieved up to this point, and to continue to develop if you so choose. The challenge is, we need to keep finding new challenges for ourselves. And if you look at anyone who is known for being exceptional and being great at what they do, they're always looking for new challenges. In the sports world, you hear this all the time. Michael Jordan's an athlete who he would even use the word challenge. That was a word he would say all the time. Well, this player was saying that he wanted to guard me, and I took it as a challenge. So I look forward to that in the competition of the game. Or, we won the championship last year, so I had to find a new challenge so we can win the championship this year. It's a word that he used over and over and over again. And I mentioned Kobe Bryant as well earlier. Everybody knows that he modeled himself and his career after Michael Jordan. He started using the word challenge as well, probably because he got it from Mike. Mike used that word all the time when he talked about motivating himself, because he had already won the championship and he made all the money and he was the biggest name and everybody said he's the best player, and he still found another challenge in order to move himself to win the championship again. It was a very challenging thing to do, to find another challenge when everybody's already telling you you're the guy. Most of us never even have that experience, but Michael Jordan was able to do it even with that experience. So all of us, with not everybody telling us we're the guy or the girl, we shouldn't have as much challenge finding a challenge. You get what I'm saying? So continuing to deal with challenges is what allows us to develop and continue to achieve. And if you stop facing challenges, what happens is we tend to shrink backwards to where we were, or we tend to stagnate. And if you stagnate, but life is moving forward, your clock is moving forward, definitely, whether your life is moving or not, you are actually moving backwards. So there's no such thing as actually, stagnation is not really a thing. When people say stagnate, what they really mean is time is moving forward while you're standing still. It means you're actually going backwards. All right, if you just look at it in a metaphysical type of way. Now let's recap today's class, which is why you should be thankful for hardship, which is defined as a thing or circumstance that causes ongoing or persistent suffering or difficulty. Number one, dealing with hardship makes you better. Our challenges exist to make us better, smarter, wiser, and stronger, even though it may not feel like that in the moment. That is exactly what they do, as long as we deal with them. Number two, you develop skills, knowledge, and ability, because when you go through a hardship, usually you're going to learn something. You're going to learn something getting punched in the face. You learn something getting dunked on in a basketball game. You learn something losing money in your business. You learn something going through some challenging professional situation. You learn things, even though you may not enjoy it in the moment while it's happening. In the long run, it benefits you because you learn things from, again, the challenge of getting smacked in the face, hopefully metaphorically. And all of us who have been smacked in the face more than once, we have knowledge and abilities and wisdom that people who have never been smacked in the face don't have. And we appreciate the fact that we took that smack in the face, because had we not taken it, eventually we're going to get one anyway. We're now ready to deal with it next time it comes, and maybe we can start handing it out instead of just taking it. And point number three, most people run away and try to avoid anything that looks like a challenge or a stress or any type of pressure. But the most successful people look for challenge, stress, and pressure. They actually even create the situation if there is none coming at them, because they know is what keeps them dialed up. It keeps them locked in. It keeps them performing at a high level. That's what you want to be anyway. So you need to continue to deal with the challenges and look for them and create them if you need to, if you don't have any already in front of you, because that's what's going to keep you a high level player. And that's what the high level players do. And success leaves clues. All that said, text me so you're in my community. My number's down below in the description. Also, workonyourgameuniversity.com. If you are a top 2% performer, or you want to be a top 2% performer, come work with me and Work on Your Game University. I'm not looking for everybody. I'm only looking for the people who are serious and ambitious about your goals, and you're looking to do something about them today. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre, all